So good to be back. For all you beautiful people out there, we gonna do this one time, yo. It's been a minute, but we back up in the spot again, flowing through the feed, and we appreciate you logging in. We are the Rant Foundation, the pink and the black, we're bringing it back. So when you put your faith in the mask, it's all facts, you should join the conversation. From all elite, so where wrestling is entertainment, it's every week, all new, no repeats, with a crew you should meet. Let me introduce you on the beat, now take a knee, he's the leader of the family, the king of talk style, but you can call him Anthony. Ain't nothing sweeter than a demon diva through your speakers. She got that ladywood, the one and only Issa, and batting third, everybody's favorite nerd with no rhythm. It's Phil, but you can call him Philium. Now sit back and enjoy the feel, cause we're the only ones left keeping wrestling real.
And welcome everybody to the show that is building the fandom of pro wrestling, the Rant Foundation. I'm your host, the King of Talk Style, Anthony DeStefano, and with me, as always, is my co-host. Let's start with the bearded bunny himself, Philium. What's going on, brother?
La Muñeca, future Raw champion. Let's go, baby.
And Andrade will be on main event soon enough.
They're not broken up. They're not broken up. She confirmed on her Twitch. They're not broken up.
Good. I was like going to get mad there. And everyone's favorite Demon Diva, it's Issa.
Hello. Hi. Hola.
Oh, hi. You know what I noticed is our group chat's very quiet. I don't think it's because we watch Raw, but we don't talk about Raw to each other.
I think it's because we watch Raw at different times.
Yeah, I don't really. I mean, I just keep up with the clips. I
put it on in the background, like watching through my fingers, because most of it is unbearable. And then there'll be that one cool thing. And you're like, fuck, I guess I'm invested now. I gotta.
But it's like
watching.
So crazy because like Friday night, for instance, we're all playing 2K. Phil, you should join us because we need another person for the rec. We're all playing. My
guy's not good enough yet.
No, just take him to the rec. Who cares? It's just us. But like, we're gonna play 2K, and I'm like, shit, like I'm gonna miss SmackDown. Now, if you ask me on Monday night, yeah, you want to play 2K? I'm like, hell yeah, I'm in. Let's do it. Like, it's not even a thought. But SmackDown has been so good that I don't want to miss it. But
it's the A show now. It's getting better.
You have the big dog. You have the big dog, and then during the Eagles game, and during I think every football game, what they promoted on SmackDown wasn't even Roman Reigns. It was Sasha Banks, and I thought that was.
They gotta be smart. Look at the trailer that dropped today. Of course,
yeah,
they're gonna
I was
promote
about to
Sasha
say
Banks.
that.
Yeah, and now we see that, but it's very eye opening to see that SmackDown has tons of these stars that they can promote. You know, you think SmackDown, you think Roman Reigns, Sasha Banks. For them not to even show Roman Reigns shows that they have their faith in Sasha Banks, and she's going to be the face of the women's division, especially with Charlotte out. That's what I picked up from it. I'm excited for her to come out Friday night and talk about Bayley.
If hoping she comes out, this could be a Bayley troll job. Or it could be an at-home interview because she's still not well enough, and they're just advertising it to suck on the marketing that they got today because of her. I think you're not going to get a Roman Reigns promotion because he's the big bad guy now, and WWE is very old school, so you're going to promote the big baby face, and right now your SmackDown big baby face is Sasha after that big down that
who's the big baby face on SmackDown for the men's
Sasha
division?
Banks.
For the men's division?
No, in the show in general.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying
it's not a women's men thing.
No,
anymore,
but I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying like they can't show Roman, but like it's a good question.
Jay
Roman
Uso?
out, the Fiend,
or Jimmy Uso, whoever the hell it is.
You can't show the Fiend on TV; they'll scare the shit out of little kids.
They did it before.
Yeah, but he looks like a bad guy.
I understand that. If you want to bring in people, you show Sasha Banks or you show Roman Reigns. If you want to keep the heel character on Roman Reigns, then you show Sasha Banks. It's not.
I'm just in my head.
That's the reason why they're doing the numbers that they're doing. They're actually treating SmackDown very smartly. Maybe Fox stepped in and has a little more of a hold on things because I like what they're doing. You don't have to show Roman Reigns. Everybody knows about Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
It's the talk of the internet. So let's give them something else to hang on to.
Maybe I'm just wording it like so. I'm just thinking in my head, like I'm wording it incorrectly, obviously, but it's like, who would be the person? Who would be the male superstar that you show if you wanted to have that big baby face? Because I don't think they have one really, right?
But do you need one?
Jeff Hardy,
just saying for promotion, you know, You
Jeff
don't
Hardy.
need one. I'm cool with them showing. First off, Sasha Banks is
But
a
that's who
smoke
they've
show.
been.
So
That's
I'm
who they've
awesome with
been
that.
literally training you to. Like from the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
who was in the ad? Sasha Banks, Roman Reigns. Who are they teaming up on the mixed tag challenge? It's Sasha Banks, Roman Reigns. It's not
Dominic
it's no
Mysterio.
longer
Dominic
oh, for real.
Mysterio.
Yeah.
The sister
It's no longer
Mysterio.
about that anymore.
First
They're
off,
just
Dominic, okay, listen. Why and Dallas wrote this, but I was thinking why is this dude living a 2K universe mode? Like every match that he's in, it's like a cage match, a table match, a no holds barred match. Like it's like, hey, welcome to WWE. We're gonna put your body through shit. But I think he's delivered. I think last night another great match, and yes, he has Seth with him, and we'll see how he develops after you're not working with one of the best workers in the world. But I feel bad for the kid. Like 33 kendo shots, then a no holds bar, then this, and then a cage. And it's like, you're going to kill this kid before he's going to be like his dad and need 18 knee replacements.
Yeah, facts. Absolutely.
he's a jobber. He's been losing every match, so I don't understand. Like,
That's fine.
He's talented in the ring. There's plenty of them that are talented in the ring.
That's
but
part
are
of the story. So he can become Prince Mysterio.
And be a jobber, just like his dad.
Give him the mask. Nobody knew who I was till I put on the mask. Give him the mask. Give him the mask. That's what he needs. He needs it in his life. How are you going to say?
You holding on to WCW Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, WCW
so much
Rey
to the
Mysterio
point where
is
you're no matter what Dominic does, you're gonna be his only fan without even paying.
Only fan. I'm on Dominic Mysterio's only fan list.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but for real, that dude is fucking good. Like I don't get why
He's
you guys
good.
don't
I'm
like
not saying
him.
he's not good.
Yeah.
I am fucking so tired of them being like,
I'm with you with that.
Dominic, Rey Mysterio, Seth Rollins, Buddy Murphy, you four are only allowed to face each other. So I guess if Seth is going to fight Buddy Murphy, I guess Dominic has to fight his dad because they're not allowed to face.
So I cannot wait to see that. I've been waiting for him to.
Yeah, I think he's gonna. I would love to see like a match at WrestleMania. It's like Dominic versus Ray, and if Dominic beats Ray, his career's over. You can establish, but here's the problem: is Dominic's going to be a face, especially if you put him in a mask. That's what they do. You know what I mean? They're going to.
Well, the real issue is Rey Mysterio is going to be so late; he's not going to show up to Money in the Bank. So.
Rey Mysterio is going to get hurt after showing up 4 hours late. Yeah, and then you have to rewrite everything. But I was interested with the Buddy Murphy thing because I do think Buddy Murphy is going to be a star, which pisses me off because another person that he wrestled that made him a star, Ali, is still on Main Event. Another week. I wish we had a little counter.
Is he going to be a star though, or this is just another?
No,
thing?
I think
because they did the same thing.
He could be a star.
Roman, and he beat Daniel Bryan on SmackDown, and everybody was like, "Oh, Buddy Murphy, the next guy," and then he went to nothing until Seth picked him up to be in his stable.
That's true. I can't say he's going to be like this. This could be a star-making thing, but
hopefully,
at the end of the day, it's not.
Lord knows the company needs.
But it's not
up to us
for 2 years. Like,
but it's not up. But it's not up to us. Like Ali would be a top guy if it was up to us, up to the fans watching and talking about and buying merch. Big E would have been. Rusev would have been a top guy. They don't care. They have what they have, and obviously the cream rises to the top. You know,
but it's Reigns, like you said with Dominic,
Seth Rollins,
right?
But
what do these people do when they're not going against the best? Like if you put Buddy Murphy in a ring with
Buddy Murphy's an excellent worker.
No, I know. We're not saying he's a bad wrestler, but what Issa is trying to say is like, when they're on their own, can they be a star? Like you could be a great wrestler all you want, but can you demand?
You cannot put that guy on a poster. You cannot make that guy go on a tour and talk about your company because nobody's gonna tune in. I'm sorry, guys, but looks and they have to have the it factor, and he doesn't.
So here's
you can
the thing.
be
Let's get into
in the ring, but this is a corporate conversation, and you have to be able to go on a poster, and you have to go on a share, and people need to want to sit on your face. That's why you put Roman Reigns on all of those shares. Okay, he is not it. Same thing with Braun Strowman. There's like they don't have the it factor that it takes to be a superstar.
I agree with the Braun thing, but I want to get into this because when you said that, it just popped in my head. CM Punk, who I don't really like bringing up on this show, but he was asked who's the next big megastar in WWE, and he said there is none. Now, I don't know if Roman Reigns was out of that conversation because look, numbers don't lie, buddy. But if you're thinking, okay, let's take Roman out of the picture. Let's take Charlotte and Sasha out of the picture. Becky
and
is
Seth.
out of the picture right now. Who is the next star they build up?
There isn't anybody because the system doesn't work like that anymore. It's not the John Cena. John Cena was the last person. Many people who've worked for the company, wrestlers, have all said this in interviews that the John Cena system died with Cena. They don't build stars like that no more. It's not one guy or girl controls the company. They build everybody, and everyone just beats everybody. That's why someone like Seth is stuck where he is, because they're never going to give him that treatment. Roman is that guy because he's that guy. Just because it's undeniable. You can't stop Roman from being so popular and so good. But after Roman, everyone just beats everybody, because like AJ and Seth and Kevin Owens, these are all big stars, but they just win and lose all the time, and it doesn't matter.
That's the thing. It's the constant 50-50
booking.
At the same time, CM Punk has become wrestling Twitter personified, because like all he does is ever bitch and complain, and whatever he says has no. I'm sorry, I love him, and I always did, but everything that he says now just feels so like you're just salty, bro. Like,
and it's like I never got an opportunity. You never got one opportunity. You were a champion for 434 days. You faced Taker at WrestleMania. Then you're going to get Triple H at WrestleMania. What do you mean you didn't get opportunity? Like, that's
the thing. Like, every time that he says something, I'm like, stop trying to, like, you say you're over it, you don't want to deal with it anymore, but you won't fucking take the dick out of your mouth and let it go. Like, bro,
and technically, if you look at what the last 2 years have brought us, there are megastars, but it's the women. It's Charlotte, it's Becky,
it's amazing. It's about time.
These are the megastars. So, like, it's not the men. Besides Roman, there's
which
no
was
one
my
else.
whole point. Yeah, my whole point in the beginning was you can't run SmackDown just advertising Sasha Banks. It's not about women's and males anymore. It's about who's the star of your show, and Sasha Banks can be that baby face. It doesn't
I totally agree. But when you said you can't show Roman because he was a heel, that's why I circled back and said, well, who's the male face? Like, because again, that CM Punk might be right in that sense, because after Roman, there is no star that really just stands out.
Because they're not giving people an opportunity.
And this is on the male side. On the female side, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, Bayley, even Asuka has risen to that. Alexa Bliss. We'll see. I'm very interested in what they're doing with her. But, you know, the women are so much more stacked, and the women have developed, like you said, these mega stars, which it is about time, because yesterday was the 5-year anniversary since Nikki Bella became the longest reigning Divas champion, and they've came a long way since those days, you know? And, you know, you saw the transitioning starting to happen, and then the momentum took it, and the women got more time and showed that they're better than the men, and they could build more compelling stories than the men, and they deliver in matches more than the men.
You ain't lying. You ain't lying. That's why there needs to be more women's matches and storylines on the show. That just besides the title, I feel like one of the worst things that the women have to deal with on a constant basis is not having a mid-card title, because the company only books feuds around titles. So if you're
that's the thing. I don't like the tag titles because they don't care about the tag titles that have all the prestige. Those WWE tag titles had some of the best tag teams of all time hold them, and they don't give a shit about them. So they don't care about tag team wrestling. So get rid of that and make like an intercontinental women's title.
It's to me, there needs to be an understanding that you should have at least 2 women feuds, not counting the tag titles because they float, but every show should have 2 women feuds. Like, you had Mandy and Sonya, and whether you liked them or not, a lot of people were into their feud, and that was a feud that was running alongside the stuff with Sasha and Bayley, or the precursor to that, I guess, right? And it's like, you have Natty and Lana.
You have some continuity with that, because, like, going back to what we were talking about on Twitter yesterday, you had a secondary feud on Raw with Bianca and Selena, and then all of a sudden Bianca beat Selena, but now Selena is challenging for the title. So that makes no sense. I'm not saying that Selena doesn't deserve it, which was never what I meant. What I meant is that you never built her up for this.
Yeah, she loses.
To me, it's like, with Zelina winning, I agree she shouldn't be in a title match. But with her being in it, I feel like it's her, like, I want a chance, and like, she's obviously gonna lose. She's not gonna be Asuka. Let's be
To me, it's a filler match, because you can't put Bianca and kill all of her momentum, even though you really haven't given her any.
Never on the show. And then they took Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan were starting to get their own momentum on their own, and then you put them in a tag team, which is great. I mean, who doesn't love the Riott Squad? But now Okay, you have Mickey James come back and she's winning, losing. She gets a title match. They had the weirdest ending of all time.
The finish,
right? And then okay, so after Zelina, who's next?
Because you don't want. I don't want them to put Bianca in, and maybe because I want Bianca to have a strong push to get to the title. I just don't want them to throw her in against
Asuka. Right? But after Selena, because Mandy Rose just went to Raw, so it will make sense if you're just going to have Asuka run through a bunch of people. Mandy Rose will be another one.
I think that's why they did.
I think they need to start thinking beyond Asuka. That's the problem. Right. Asuka is the problem because everything we just said, right? Asuka cannot go on a radio show and promote your product. I'm sorry. She could be the greatest wrestler in the world, and she's one of the greatest wrestlers in the world, but you cannot send her to do radio interviews. You cannot send her to promote your brand. You cannot put her on your intro and get people hyped because she can't go out there and talk. So you need to start building someone else. We all agree it should be Bianca, but if they're not going to put Bianca on TV, you need to start building. If you want to make it Mandy, since she was in the limelight this whole year with the Otis stuff and then the feud with Sonya, and technically she won the feud with Sonya. If you want to set it up so maybe Mandy somehow is in the mix and then Sonya comes back and comes to Raw and you keep that going in the beginning of the year, fine. But you need to do the legwork now or else it's going to be random.
If Mandy Rose would have interrupted Asuka last night after the botch finish and say, hey, I just got drafted here and I'm here to make a presence, so let's go. That would have made more sense to me than Zelina Vega. So I'm like, listen, I'm super happy for Zelina Vega. They're just not. It just seems like it's little tweaking things, and you're right. This whole thing, surrounding around. Same with Bayley, Nikki Cross again. I don't want to see that, but whoever won is going to lose to her. So you might as well just give it to somebody that's not going to kill their momentum. But nobody else has any momentum going either.
I call this the Dolph Ziggler rule. That dude lost so many matches, but he's always next up to get a title shot or next up, and it's like. They've literally just trained their mind that it doesn't matter if you lose a feud. You can go for a title.
There's no way to get me to not want to fucking watch Raw. Then Samoa Joe is off this week. We have Dolph Ziggler. I was like, fucking shoot me in the face. I got to hear this dude talk. I don't just have to watch him randomly in a Raw Underground segment beat fucking whoever and then get murdered again because he even loses in that. And then I have to hear him talk.
They'll probably get a title shot. That's what I'm saying. WWE trains their brain to think like, okay, you lose. Title shot. It's if you lose the playoff game, you don't go to the championship.
I feel like they went. Listen, if that was the case, the Knicks would be fucking in every championship game. If losing was the only thing.
Yeah, right.
But I think that
Knicks are in the NBA Finals this year.
I feel like they sit in meetings and they have the whole roster on a wall, and Vince just throw the dart at this and whoever it lands on, and he's like. I guess that's who it is. And maybe it did land on Mandy, and he was like, wait, Mandy's not even on Raw. And he was like, well, draft her over because whatever. That's what the fucking thing landed on.
Yeah, that whole thing was fucking weird, too, how they moved her over to Raw. But
it's because isn't she dating Ziggler? So, that's why, which is weird because then why not move Otis over?
Are they really dating?
Yeah, which scares me because does that mean Otis is going to cash in?
How does this dude get Nikki Bella and Mandy Rose in one lifetime? Come on, man.
Ziggler, bro.
I'm pissed now. He loses, and his political views are shit.
Listen, ultimately, this whole conversation circles right back to one thing, and that is that Drew McIntyre is not it. Because if he was doing his job as the babyface WWE champion, we would have not gone all the way around and asking who's the male babyface that you can show if you can show Roman Reigns. It's clearly not the WWE champion.
I just don't know if I can blame him yet with the fans.
Oh, really? Because there's a lot of people that were able to do a lot of great things without fans in attendance.
Yeah, I'll give him one more month and see what happens. Okay. I do like him.
He looked so stupid last night. He threw the weakest fucking punch I have ever seen.
You know what's funny? I turned it off, and then I saw your tweet, and then I saw the clip, and I was like, he was like,
That's the thing, with Drew McIntyre, it's like 1 week you make him look super badass and you get kind of invested again, and then the next week you ruin everything that you just built.
It was just, get your hand out. Get your hand out.
What was that? He made both of them look horrible. Yep. Both of them, including Keith Lee.
I don't know what's gonna happen first. them ruining him or them just fucking changing his gear every 4.5 seconds. Like,
He's
yeah, all
already
right.
ruined. He's nothing but a third wheel to this Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre feud, which was my whole point of Keith Lee should not feud with Randy Orton. He feels like a third wheel, like they're just trying to like swatch him off so they can
And
move on.
instead of going somewhere, maybe he does go to Seth, and maybe they want Seth to win the feud with Buddy and then have momentum or whatever. But Keith Lee needs a feud. You know what I mean? And it's like
It's gonna probably be Aleister Black. That's what KO's building him for. I don't know. There's some weird.
Didn't Aleister lose last night?
Yeah.
So why? Right? You established this dude as like fucking Snake, like what a badass, and he loses, and it's. I read that and I was like, he lost. Like you didn't even wait for the pay-per-view.
I mean, he lost to Kevin Owens, so that's not really.
And I love Kevin Owens, but you made this dude.
You're not doing shit with him either.
Well, yeah, Kevin Owens just is.
But that's the issue. Everybody just beats everybody, and nothing matters. They're not building anybody anymore. And with the women, they kind of do because there's less, right?
Yeah, but they get stuck on one person and forget about the entire rest of the roster.
Yeah, yep, that's true, and that's what they're doing with Asuka. It's what they did with Becky. It's what they do with Charlotte all the time.
What they're doing with Bayley. I love her, but it's what they're doing with Bayley. She's held that belt for how long now? Over a year, I think. So it's like.
And then after her and Sasha, right? Because we all assume Sasha's going to win, and that feud's over. What do they do? Because there's no other woman on that roster that people care about. I know people love Naomi, and
they're bringing Carmella in, so
which is fine.
I know, but
you need to completely rebuild her because she's done nothing for like 2 years.
Yeah, she'll be a heel,
right?
She'll be, but again, she'll be a heel just to feed to Sasha. And that's fine. I get you need the people to feed to these people to have them establish their title reigns. But at the same time, it's like now, say you take the belt off Bayley, whatever, you send Bayley to Raw, Becky's out, Charlotte's out, Sasha gets hurt. Who?
Yeah, but that's the issue that they have.
But like
with a lot of this company, they're not setting up the future. They're not doing little, like the one thing that NXT did so well before they went to TV was they gave people short storylines and short feuds. Right. Maybe you weren't on TakeOver, but your feud made it to the pre-show of TakeOver that aired on NXT. Like Lacey Evans and Nikki Cross fought all the time, and Tyler Bate and Roddy Strong. Like that way, when somebody got hurt or somebody went down, Bianca was the queen of that, right? She would have these little feuds, and when someone got hurt, Bianca would always step in and maybe go to a takeover, whatever. Ruby Riott was like that in NXT too. So it was like, you need these people. And I see they're doing like Alexa versus Nikki Cross, which is cool because you're setting up Nikki Cross to maybe do something, or Alexa to come back into singles competitors, but they need to do that on Raw.
That Sister Abigail was beautiful.
Yeah, it was great. And we'll get into that too. Let's talk about that a little bit. Like Alexa Bliss. I really do think, like, I know that we said we think she's just going to turn back to the Twisted Bliss or, the Harley Quinn character. But I do think there's going to be a connection to The Fiend. I really do believe that they're going to try to build more of a mystique around Alexa Bliss. I think they're going to do it for a couple more weeks, but I think she will align with The Fiend. And as long as it's not a love story, I'm cool with it. I think she's given hints of the Sister Abigail. That's a big hint. Like, to me, like, you just don't do that if she's just going to be.
Did you watch her on Talking Smack with
Charlie?
Xavier Woods. Because Xavier Woods actually brought back when he was under the Wyatt spell. Do you remember when he was like freaked out by the Wyatt family? And he was having I love that clip. He's having a conversation. He's like, I've been there. I know exactly what you're going through. And she was just like in a trance. And then she was like, okay, thanks for having me. And just got up and walked away. I love how they actually, and I don't watch Talking Smack. That actually made its way into my timeline on Twitter, and I was like, okay, that's good shit. I love the continuity because who else has been there? Actually, Xavier Woods. Yep. I remember he would just go on that trance in the middle of the matches. So I really, really like what they're doing. I think you're right. There's going to be some kind of connection there.
And I can't wait to see what it is because I love Bray, and I think Bray works well with the more layers you give to Bray Wyatt, the better he is. And it's not like that with other talent. You give talent too much, and then they get lost in the shuffle. You can give Bray Wyatt 3 personalities, a girlfriend that's going crazy, whatever, and he's going to make it work. Like, he pulled off the 3 personalities in the Bray Wyatt match, or in the Braun Strowman match, better than anyone ever could.
Right.
I mean, I cared about all three of his characters. I cared about the goofy Firefly Funhouse. I love the cult leader. That's one of my favorite gimmicks of all time. And then you got the Fiend, who reminds me of like a modern day Undertaker. And you're like,
the problem
I can't
is
not like any of this.
based on Friday and the puppet that he added, which I called it, but
Yeah.
I have a feeling that he's going to be Roman's next victim, because if he's adding that Paul Heyman puppet, it's almost like trying to get revenge from Roman, which will make sense because Braun shouldn't have anything to do with this. Roman took the title from the Fiend, not from Braun. So you eliminate Braun. He's on the underground now. Who cares? But
I do think we're going to get that at Survivor Series.
No, I think it's going to be Hell in a Cell.
Do you?
Yeah, they already had an amazing Hell in a Cell match. Why not do it all?
So, I mean, well, as we know, WWE spans 2 months usually. So you'll get Hell in a Cell and Survivor Series being the payoff, which would be fine. And then I do think, as much as people don't want to hear it, I think at Royal Rumble, you're going to get the Goldberg, Roman Reigns clash. I do think that that's still on the table. Goldberg still signed. Reigns can beat Goldberg. Goldberg can go the fuck away. But I do think that's a money match.
Why are you manifesting that? Like, why?
Because I just know it's going to happen. So you just got to get ready for it.
No.
It's like a prostate exam. Like, you know it. Just get ready. You know it's coming.
No.
But speaking of not using talent right or talent leaving, so it was a very Miro day Wednesday night as the best man arrived on All Elite Wrestling with Phil's 2 favorite people, Penelope and Kip Sabian, which was really cool. I was cracking up because like I like that kind of comedy where he's like the best man, and it's like Mark walks out. And he's like, I followed you on Twitter. You said you're the best man, and I was like, this is awesome. And then I was actually shocked by Miro, aka Rusev, coming out and joining All Elite Wrestling. As I have watched his streams, he said he was retired. He said he had no interest in wrestling. He played us all for a fool. Obviously, that dude's ripped and jacked. And
I was gonna say, you believe that the more that I just saying he get bigger and better. You know, he was preparing for something big.
I didn't think it was going to be this soon. I thought he was going to take a couple months off. Like that's how I read it.
He did.
Yeah, and then he came out, and I mean, there was no crowd, but the crowd that was there reacted, and Twitter reacted, and he got a great reaction. This is someone who got himself over in WWE and was told, oh, you know, you're only selling so many shirts because they don't make enough shirts, blah, blah, blah. Like every time he cut the glass ceiling promo, which I can't stand. I can't stand the, I'm from this company and they didn't treat me right, but like, I hate it. But
it was Jericho's idea.
Yeah, and
he
everything
said it on Busted Open.
Actually, Jericho's idea was Rant Foundation. Jericho invents everything. He just creates it. But there was this glass ceiling for Rusev in WWE because he was popular. He was over. The fans were chanting Rusev Day during all the matches at WrestleMania when we went. People wanted to see him. People liked him. People bought his stuff. And they put a glass ceiling on him. What do we think the ceiling for Rusev is, or Miro now, in AEW? Isa, let's start with you.
I think he could win the title. I think Rusev could finally become a world champion in AEW. I mean, they have a tendency to give it to all the former WWE guys, so why not?
I just think that, obviously, we're like the top of the company, right? It's just the thing that needs to stop, which I saw a lot on Twitter that day, was, oh, another WWE guy. It's like WWE was the only company for like 30 fucking years. Every single person in the industry is a former WWE guy or girl. I'm sorry. Unless you wrestled in another country and you never came over here, it is what the fuck it is, right?
Not to play devil's advocate here, but the problem is, even when it happened with WCW, you didn't have WWF screaming every week, we're not going to take all the WCW guys. That's not what we do. And you have AEW
I know, but
saying that. So AEW, it's like you have to accept the criticism.
AEW is very bad at promotion. They kind of change what they're saying.
They have horrible marketing.
It's literally foot in the mouth.
We need to be better because it's just what it is. It's in another year, we're going to see a big turnover with AEW, and it's WCW and WWF again. People are going to go back and forth.
When it comes to somebody like Rusev, Phil, any company will be stupid to not jump in, 100%. Give him whatever he wants. So this has nothing to do with WWE. It has something to do with somebody super talented that's going to improve your roster immediately. That's what I didn't like.
He was right there. Yeah. He was a guy who came out with a fucking tank at WrestleMania and fought John Cena. Like, there's no bigger stage than that. So, like,
That entrance
He's
was
perfect
epic.
for your company. He's everything that you need. I mean, a company that went from having no big guys, they have more big guys than regular guys now. So,
well, this is what I say, and like when people bring that up, oh, they signed another WWE guy. It's like, okay, well, yes, they have signed a lot of WWE guys. I'm not a big Sean Spears fan. I'm not a Matt Cardona fan. But you're telling me if the Revival's on the open market, you're not trying to sign them? If Rusev is a free agent, you're not trying to sign them? If Luke Harper is a free agent, you're not like.
I just don't understand why it's only in wrestling is it a big deal. In sports, it's not a big deal. In other things, it's not a big deal. Why in wrestling
they're just making
is it such a problem? Be a fan of the wrestler. I love Darby Allin. And if Darby Allin went to NXT, I would watch NXT because I like Darby Allin. If Bianca Belair went to fucking Impact, I guess I'm watching Impact now.
I watch Impact because Deanna's on it.
That's what I'm saying. That's all it should be. Like, I watched Impact because Tessa was on it.
Yep.
So, like, if Tessa goes to fucking Lucha Underground, I guess I gotta watch Lucha Underground now. Like, that's just be a fan of the wrestlers.
I beg to differ, but a lot of fans talked a lot of shit about Tom Brady being part of the Buccaneers this weekend. I talk a lot of shit about the Mets taking the Yankees sloppy second. So I will say that it does happen in other sports
as well. Happen.
It's just a bad habit that we have. You know how much shit I talk about Harper when he went to the Phillies? It's a bad habit that all sports fans have. So maybe we just see it more because the majority of the things that we follow so closely is wrestling, but I see it in every sport.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah,
when Kevin Durant left to go sign with Golden State, you know what I mean? When LeBron left to go to Miami and got death threats, that kind of shit does happen. But I can't sit back and say, AEW, you're to blame for signing talent that's going to put eyes on your product. I think that argument's stupid from the WWE side, where it's like, oh, they signed another WWE guy. Yeah, they have Chris Jericho, Luke Harper, fucking Rusev, and the Revival. That's a pretty and John Moxley, Dean Ambrose. It's like
and WWE hoarded talent for so long where they just took everybody just to have them, so nobody else could have them, even though they weren't using them.
Now, if they sign Brian Myers and if Matt Cardona actually signs there and they sign a bunch of these C players, the main event players, if you will, then okay, now you're signing everyone just to sign them. But my thing is like with the Miro thing is like, who wouldn't sign him? You don't think New Japan wanted him to come over? You don't think Impact was like, hey, Miro, come? Everybody wanted that guy. It's one of the top free agents in wrestling.
It's just another place to watch the wrestlers that you like. And unlike pro sports, like what you were saying, you're a Yankee fan. So it happens. If a player on the Knicks went somewhere else, whatever, but like wrestling isn't like that. Like, people like wrestling. We just happen to watch WWE because that's the only fucking show that's existed. But if you fall in love with a performer, no matter who it is, and they leave, you're probably going to go watch them somewhere else. If AJ Styles started in WWE, became AJ Styles, and then went to TNA, a lot of people would start watching TNA because they like AJ Styles. And I guarantee you a lot of TNA people probably came back to WWE when AJ came back. And that's my only issue with seeing how social media treats things, is because I think we've gotten to a point. No, go ahead.
I was thoroughly entertained Wednesday. I thought Dynamite was solid. Like, they put on a really good show, and I would admit it.
A horrible pay-per-view.
After a horrible pay-per-view, they did that reset that we talked about last week that they had to do in order to move forward and forget about it, because everybody puts on a bad pay-per-view. Come on, like, we've been watching wrestling long enough. The thing that I have, just to counter what Phil said, is that I sit here and talk shit to you guys too about WWE, but when it comes to AEW, it feels like their fan base is a little sensitive when you call them out on some things, and that it shouldn't be that way, because I call out WWE on their bullshit too.
It's criticism.
But when you do it to AEW, everybody.
You know what's so funny about that? Like, I 100% believe you, and I've had the same talks with MJ, and I've had the same talks with a bunch of people. I do not follow any of these people. I must have blocked and muted them because I never. And I know it exists because it's not AEW and WWE. It's wrestling fans suck. All of them suck. It gets crazy on Twitter. But I never see the AEW to WWE thing. Like, I think I muted and blocked everybody because my timeline.
You must have all the words muted, or I don't know what you're doing.
There's no way, because I only ever see, like, on Mondays when Raw does something stupid, I don't see AEW fans being like, oh, AEW's better. But on Wednesdays, if they do something, I see those WWE trolls come out and say it. which is crazy because I don't even know who I follow at this point.
There's trolls on both ends. There is.
I agree, but I'm just saying I don't see it.
You know what I hate is I hate that there's this WWE AEW like war.
I don't understand why
it feels like politics. Like
yeah.
I'm just fucking sit back and enjoy that we have wrestling on every night of the fucking week. Enjoy it.
That's like being a comic book fan, loving DC and getting mad at the Flash and Arrow. Like either watch both of them or only watch one of them. Same thing with Marvel. Oh, Captain America, Iron Man. I'm not gonna watch Iron Man's movie. All right, you're gonna miss a good movie then, you fucking idiot. Like, what do you care? Like, either watch AEW or don't watch AEW, or just don't comment on it. Like, I don't understand.
It's just so funny that a lot of the people, and it's just the world we live in, right? A lot of the people, it's like the same as I'm canceling my network, right? I'm gonna cancel my network. It's the people that sit there and shit on WWE. And they love it, but then as soon as AEW, like they shit on WWE about everything, but as soon as AEW does one thing they don't like, it's like, well, that's why I watch WWE, and you complain about it for fucking 3 days straight. So why do you watch it? And why then don't even watch anything? Like it was like the people, the fucking people. Well, I'm not watching the NFL, okay, and then look on Facebook and watch all those motherfuckers writing about the Eagles game, and you're just like, no, motherfucker, you are watching the NFL.
Well, that was
just because you say you're going to do something.
Doesn't just your Facebook.
No, it's just the fucking. I hate the world we live in where it's like, oh, I'm not doing that. I don't believe in that. And then they're fucking watching anyway. If you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. I don't give a fuck. Don't talk about it. I don't want to hear about it.
I will never say I'm canceling the network. I will never say I'm not watching baseball. Do I go on rants every time the Yankees lose? Fuck yeah. Epic rants too on Twitter. And the next day I'm like, yeah, let's go Yankees. Because that's what we do. But in wrestling, it just seems like the fan base gets a little more.
Did I break my remote on Sunday? Absolutely I did. Am I going to watch Sunday? Absolutely I am. Will I probably break another remote? Absolutely. But I'm not on.
At least you're not a Jets fan.
But I'm not on Facebook like, yo, I don't believe in that. Fuck that. I'm not watching the Eagles anymore. And then you're secretly watching. Like, I hate the gang mentality. I've always hated it. It's part of the reason I want to bring back the shows because wrestling Twitter is a shit fest with no positivity and no one that just goes, hey, you like that? Cool. Why do you like it? All right, let me explain why I like this a little bit better. We can have an educated conversation without just being like, AEW, that's a wedding angle. You know who had wedding angles? WWE. Yeah, moron. WWE existed for fucking 40 years before AEW was even thought of. Of course it had wedding angles.
Why we can just be happy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we have freaking Roman Reigns, Finn Balor, Moxley. You have like the champions right now. I mean, yeah, there's Drew McIntyre, but whatever. Like, the champions right now are amazing. Like, we have awesome wrestling going on right now. And like, why are we picking at the little things instead of just enjoying the few good things that are happening right now?
And the cool thing about having,
focus on the negative too much.
And the cool thing about having even put Impact in this conversation is there are multiple places for people to go. So if they run into a position where in any of these companies, they're kind of just spinning their wheels and they're not being used, they can go somewhere else and become a star. Deonna Purrazzo went from who gives a fuck to somebody a lot of people are talking about because what she's doing on Impact. The same thing with AEW talent with Tay Conti debuting officially. And she went from who gave a fuck, is she even still on the roster, to now I saw tweets of people being like, she's going to be the face of the division. Oh, wow. Who's been saying that for fucking 5 years on Who Got Next? Now everybody wants to jump on the fucking bandwagon. I've been saying it. It's all about personality. Actual wrestling skill has little to do with it. It's more, it's just personality.
And that's why I think WWE should take the belt off Asuka and put it on Mandy. And I'm not saying because Mandy's a better wrestler. Asuka is a head and shoulders above her. But Mandy, you put her on posters. Guys, you let her sit on ABC Good Morning America, and dudes are gonna be like, but who's that? I gotta watch her.
It's whoever is captivating. Bianca Belair. When that fucking music hits,
Bianca Belair is a beautiful girl. Looks matter, bro.
It does absolutely. But
you put Roman Reigns up there, and then you put someone who's you put Braun Strowman sitting there, and the girl's gonna be like, who the fuck is that guy? I want to watch that show.
And it's the same thing. Like AEW has that same issue, right? Where how the fuck has Britt Baker not been the women's champion yet when she's the most captivating woman on that roster? And it's like that's this type of stuff that people need to start doing, especially right now when there's no fans there and all they're doing is Zoom call interviews and all this stuff like that. You put Britt Baker on a Zoom call with a radio show or a talk show, and you're like, oh, I'm also a dentist.
Especially on a Zoom call where you can prep her ahead of time, so maybe if she struggles a little bit, she already knows what she's going to be asked, and she can prepare to respond to these questions. Listen, the best part about having AEW is that you have some guys that make perfect sense there. Like Dean Ambrose is not a corporate WWE guy. You see him in AEW as Mox, and you go, yes. Same with Rusev.
It makes sense. Yep.
You go, they make sense here. And
Luke Harper makes sense there.
No pun intended, but there's no glass ceiling for them here because they can have that creative freedom that they didn't get over here. There are some people that just want to come in and wrestle, tell me what to do, tell me what to say, and WWE is perfect for you in that environment. You know, like, it's great that they have an alternate ways to go, and it's great that we have multiple wrestling to watch. Like, my horizons have been expanded so much since AEW started, and now that I'm watching it regularly, I'm enjoying it a lot more than I was a month ago when we started doing this.
I agree. I know. I do think,
and
Asuka's
even somebody
hot.
like Mike Bennett, right?
That wasn't a shot at Asuka because I do think Asuka's hot as well.
That was a shot. No, that was a shot at Asuka.
I'm saying, man. I'm just to finish my thought. I'm saying you want someone who can go on there and promote a brand. Mandy Rose is that person on Raw,
and you've been booking her for that.
Yeah.
The problem is that you booked Asuka in such a way that it's going to take a lot of building to create somebody that will look credible against her. And
well, that's the thing. In our eyes, in a wrestling fan's eyes, Mandy Rose can't fucking hold her strap.
Then have her cheat to win. She could be a fucking heel. Asuka's a good guy now, so you can just have somebody cheat to beat her.
But Issa, that's the perfect example. It's like, yeah, like it makes sense marketing to do Mandy Rose, but as a wrestling fan, I say that and you go, well, that's not fucking logical, right?
Even though it is logical because you've been booking her for the last 6 months.
I will put Selena Vega or Bianca Belair before Mandy Rose. No offense to your team.
I would take Selena too.
But either one of them. All three of those are very captivating people, and when they come to the ring,
but none of them look like somebody that could credibly beat Asuka. If you're gonna have them cheat to win, then they're not gonna be the person that you said in Good Morning America because you're a bad guy. That's
a good point, and that's the point that she made. That in a wrestling mind, you made Asuka like who beats Asuka? Charlotte.
Shayna.
You did it
it should be Shayna.
It should be Shayna.
It should have been Shayna all along, but now they have her wasting her time in this fucking tag team storyline that's going to end with them fighting anyway. So you're just wasting time. The belt should have won on the Iconics. My favorite thing about watching Raw this week, so happy they broke the Iconics up. How many wins did each of them get on Monday? Oh, were they even on the fucking show? Like, what's the point of breaking them up? You could have gave them the tag belts, and then it should have been Shayna versus Asuka United Champions.
So what about Mike Bennett? You brought up the Miracle.
Well, so Mike Bennett, similar to what we're saying, right? He did terribly in WWE. He battled addiction, a ton of stuff. He came back. He was hurt. Maria got pregnant twice while they were there, which kind of stunted his growth because they were attached as characters, and he didn't feel fulfilled there. He gets released out of his control. So what does he do? Now he's challenging Nick Aldis for the NWA title, and he did the 10 pounds of gold. He had a great interview on Busted Open yesterday. So it's like,
I didn't know that. I know that Eric Young showed up in TNA too, right?
Eric Young is a TNA champion, but the thing is, like, where Eric Young, I mean, I've never really liked Eric Young, but it's just you can go somewhere else and become that company's star or become a big deal in that company because maybe you can help a younger guy grow. Like, for example, Ricky Starks, who's doing a lot of great things in AEW, he was on NWA. The pandemic hits, he somehow luckily gets an opportunity to perform. AEW signs him. Now he's doing great things over there. He's going to be able to grow in AEW. Maybe he ends up not staying there. Maybe he goes to WWE, but he's a better performer because he was performing for AEW.
Nick Aldis needs to get money thrown at him because that dude is an absolute.
He doesn't want to leave NWA. Yeah. They have thrown money at him. He did an interview saying that Tony Khan, right? Yeah, Tony Khan gave him this crazy deal, and he said no because he's not going to leave NWA until they have somebody to take his place because he can help build it. So he's never leaving. So
respect.
Yeah, you're never leaving. But you said like Eric Young, and this isn't a shot at Eric Young, but like that's another thing. It's like, oh look, like WWE definitely didn't care about Eric Young. Did WWE care about Eric Young? Maybe not. But Eric Young could never be an intercontinental champion in that company. Look at the Intercontinental Champions. Would you put Eric Young over Rollins? Balor? No. Nakamura? No. Sami Zayn? No. Like, so it's like, yeah, maybe they didn't use his talent, but you got to understand there is way more talented people who drew a lot more money blocking him from moving up. I think breaking up Sanity was stupid. It was insanity because that faction could have made noise. But the star of that faction was Killian Dane. It wasn't even Eric Young.
The leader, yeah.
So Eric Young made a name for himself in Impact. Now he's back there and he can do good things. But I still look at Impact's roster and go, why isn't Carl Anderson? Carl Anderson was an amazing singles wrestler. Why aren't you trying to build him up as a singles wrestler? EC3 is probably one of the most captivating characters in pro wrestling. Why isn't the title on that guy? It's like you put it.
He's not signed. That's why the title's not on him.
I know. And I hope he shows up to like an AEW because I think that and that's another WWE guy. No, that's actually an Impact.
I don't
guy.
see EC3 as a WWE guy. I would always see him.
Yeah,
as
he's a TNA guy.
But that guy would be a huge signing for AEW as well, because his whole gimmick fits the AEW. Control your narrative. You know what I mean? Like, I just think there is money to be made for these guys, and shows can make money if they book properly. And you're seeing it in Impact. Yeah, they put the title on Eric Young. Do I like it? No. But guess what? They gave Deanna and Jordan an Iron Woman match that was unbelievable.
And it's an example that AEW is not signing all of WWE releases. We just mentioned two of them that went to two complete different places. Three of them with ECW, Eric Young, and
Mike Bennett. Mike Bennett.
So, like, it's just a prime example that no, they're not all going to AEW for the record.
Yeah, and they haven't even signed Matt Cardona yet. That's not official.
Thank God.
That's just,
thank the Lord.
I know. I hope he doesn't. I'm over it. I'm not a big Cardona guy. But I am a big Finn Balor guy. So Finn Balor, as we were on the air last week, won the NXT Championship.
Yay!
Which, for me, I'm so hyped. I love Finn. I think, I don't want to say misused, but misutilized. I don't know. Like, he did the rule number one. What Freddie Prinze Jr. in an interview, I forgot with who he was interviewing with, said, if you're a smaller guy, you cannot get hurt when you're the champion. You will never get the belt back. And that's exactly what happened to Finn. And that's why I'm happy he got it back to NXT. But I don't even want to say, hey, they move him. They didn't care about him. He won the IC title. Like, they still put him in big spots. They put him at Raw 25. Him and the Bullet Club or the club were in the ring with DX. Like, he got his moment. So they've always viewed him as a star. Maybe don't view him as the top star, because if you can't stay healthy, Vince is done with you. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. Like, we've seen it firsthand with Ziggler. We've seen it with a lot of guys. And, you know, obviously you have the Randy Ortons, the Cenas, the Roman Reigns. It don't matter if they're hurt, sick. They don't care. You're coming back. You're getting the gold because you're that important. I put Balor in that, like, second level of those guys that they really care about. He's not an Orton. He's not a Reigns. But they moved Balor because they knew he had drawing power. And they knew that NXT and AEW was going to be a war. So they moved him down there so they could get eyes on the product. Because look what happens when NXT isn't against AEW. It gets 1.1 million views. You are taking viewers away because people like Finn Balor. People watch to see Finn Balor. I'm a big Balor fan. Putting a title on him is smart. Do I hope that he stays in NXT? No, because I see him as a main event talent on Raw or SmackDown.
I think he should stay in NXT for as long as humanly possible, because regardless of how talented he is, he will never make it past the IC division. I think that they've lost faith in him, and and with so many other people like fighting for that spot and moving up and beating each other and stuff like that. And, you know, these legends coming back and people like Randy Orton having the best year of their careers, like in year 30, whatever the year he's in now.
42.
I think he's better off in NXT. Plus, it's cool because it's kind of like a reset, right? Because Balor was
like a whole different thing too.
Yeah, Balor was like the first big face of NXT, right? He was the first mainstream popular person out of NXT. You had Adam Cole for
watching NXT
a year and a half, and now you have.
That's why I think you need a draft. You need a draft because I want to see people get pulled there. I want to see Balor. I want to see Cesaro.
I just want Nakamura back there. So
he can
be treated
I know, me
good
too.
again.
But do you get what I'm saying? Like, Make it a legit third brand with none of this. We're going to build up stars. NXT, you can debut new stars on Raw, on SmackDown, not just on NXT. NXT doesn't need to be the stepping stone. You have a credible champion with Balor. If a draft comes up, give him some like a Balor Cesaro wrestling match, because NXT is your wrestling show, would be unbelievable.
Take all the people.
Give me Balor Nakamura. Give me Balor Nakamura. Give me.
Take all the people that the internet bashes their head against their keyboards every week, begging for TV time, begging for something new. Put them in NXT. Let them Mustafa Ali, Cesaro, Nakamura. Put all these
Sami
people in
Zayn.
NXT.
Put them there.
Exactly. Put them there and let them have fun and go crazy and do some cool stuff. Right? I just don't understand it. Like you keep them on the main roster as just bodies, and they don't do anything.
I'm excited for a Finn Balor title run in NXT, and I do think that it brings, like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just whoever beats him, it will feel like a big deal already, because you're beating like a legend of NXT, which is like almost coming to the main roster and beating one of the old guys. That's how it feels.
I think I know who's going to beat him. I think
he's probably going to be Cross when he's finally ready again.
And who knows how long it is. I am a big fan of Santos Escobar. I love that gimmick.
You could put him in a fucking lineup. I can't tell you who that is. I know he's the cruiserweight champion.
No, but
I can't
he wrestled.
tell you
he wrestled
the
the whole tournament under the mask, and then he pulled it off. And it just feels like he's like a drug lord. Is what it feels like. His gimmick. It just reminds me of like a drug lord. Like he's just the fucking man. He reminds me of Scarface. Like
a drug lord that loses to Breezango. You want that person to win the.
I love him. So yeah, I would. Wins and losses don't matter, as we established earlier. Maybe he lost. Maybe he lost.
Point with Dominic.
No, you know what? It's okay. He lost to Breezango. He can challenge Drew McIntyre for the Raw title next week.
Listen, you already have people on Raw that need that big push before him, and that's fucking Angel Garza and Andrade.
So who's Zelina with, or is this just are they blown it all up?
No, so from what she said on her Twitch, someone asked her, and she said that it is not a forever breakup. She's just doing her thing right now, and that like she was like, oh, if they do something nice, I'd be willing to come back. So it was like, oh, they're clearly just testing the waters to see, because I honestly think Angel Garza will be fine, right? He speaks pretty well. He like oozes charisma. It's Andrade that I'm worried about, because for people who don't remember, Andrade was fucking a nobody in NXT before Zelina became his manager. He was having these unbelievable matches and no one gave a fuck. Him and Roddy Strong feuded for like a year. No one cared because it was just mid-card matches and he never made a takeover. They put Zelina with him. It gave him a personality. It made the character stand out more. So I'm terrified to see what he's going to do without her, to be honest with you. They already changed her music. I went back and I watched the clip to see if it was the same music. She has new music now, so...
Yeah, she has her own music, because when he hit yesterday, I was like, who's coming out? I didn't recognize the music.
But here's the thing, though. Like, if you're moving Zelina on, like, Andrade needs a manager. And it's like, this is where the NFL got things from the XFL. They got ideas from it. Look at the new scoreboards and stuff like that. This is where I reach into the AEW bag, where everyone has a manager. And I put Ric Flair as Andrade's manager.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Just because that's his soon-to-be son-in-law. And it's like, you have a legend now training this dude and
Ric Flair died. I don't know if you remember this, but Ric Flair died. So we put Charlotte.
I mean, even like let Flair, give him a time limit, but let Flair cut promos for the dude. You know what I mean? Like, let him build him up. Like, here's my thing. I watch AEW and I like Lance Archer, but Jake the Snake should be the only one talking.
Yeah.
Because
you're not lying.
It sounds more dangerous with that. Like, if Lance Archer's silent and not talking, because when he talked, I was like, Jake the Snake just killed that promo and he handed it off to you and you bobbled it. You know what I mean? You didn't run it into the, like, when Paul Heyman handed it off to Roman took that bitch into the end zone. So sometimes it works, but when Jake the Snake cut that promo, I'm like, okay, good. And then Lance started and he kind of repeated what Jake said. And I'm like, no, like,
well, they used to back in the day. They used to hide people's weaknesses and highlight their strengths. They don't really do that anymore. They kind of throw you in the water and go, "Oh, you can't swim. Sorry, sucks to be you." And it's like, if we know that Andrade cannot cut promos like that, don't put a microphone in his hand unless he has a manager like he had Zelina to do the work for him. But now he doesn't. So like, let's put him in opportunities where he can showcase how great of a wrestler he is. However, there is a ceiling to that because if you can't cut a promo, you're not going to be the world champion. So he better get used to fighting for the U.S. title. Then again, he's not black, so I don't know if he can get in that U.S. title race right now.
He had it. He didn't do shit with it.
But he's not black. Only black people can go against the Hurt Business because for some reason WWE
that, but I'm just saying, right? They did give him a rent with the
and he didn't do anything.
And it was trash.
We got suspended. Too.
Even after that, he came back and he had it forever. Like the 30 days that he was suspended for the U.S. Championship has been trashed for a long time. Maybe Bobby Lashley will do something with it. I don't know who can challenge based on what Phil said. But even before that, like
Ricochet, Apollo Crews,
like it's just
Titus O'Neil, the Street Profits.
I'll tell you what, the Hurt Business to me is the best thing
awesome.
about Raw.
They are so awesome.
Like, yo,
they're so awesome.
First off, I still can't take Retribution serious. Okay, I'm sorry, I can't do it.
At this point, just take your mask off. We know who you are. Like, you're uncovering most of your eyes. Where like that's clearly.
Yeah, but you know who looks even stupider is Keith Lee and Drew McIntyre fighting them without fucking ripping masks off of them. Like that was so dumb. That whole thing was dumb.
But I didn't like that, but what I did like is after they beat them down, the Hurt Business comes out, flies shit in their suits, and they're like, all right, we're here to fuck shit up now. Like, I was like,
I love them.
I was so hyped. And I'm like, I didn't really like MVP. Like, I didn't care about him. Shelton Benjamin, I didn't care about. I liked Lashley. I wasn't huge on him. I liked Cedric Alexander a lot. His new aggressive side's amazing. But when all four of them came out together, I was like, holy shit. No, this is real. Like, this is sick.
Earlier on the night when they tell Adam Pearce, oh, we'll handle him. And he was like, oh, thanks for volunteering. And MVP was like, oh, no, we're not volunteering. This is going to cost you. I love that. They're business people. It's called the Hurt Business. He's like, this is a business transaction. I absolutely love that they're putting that whole, even Cedric Alexander said it. I want to win matches. I want to make more money. Like they're making them like the money, like stable. And I'm here for it. I love that.
Yeah. And everyone's like, oh, this is the new nation. I'm like, no, it doesn't have to be.
Oh my God, stop comparing.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be that. This could be something.
I like
it is literally right now one of my favorite factions in pro wrestling.
It's fun, it's different, it's new, right? With MVP being the outspoken leader and kind of making Bobby Lashley seem like a big deal, making Shelton seem relevant again, and now building up a young guy like Cedric, like it's gonna be awesome. They're awesome. Like you said, they're the best part of Raw every week.
Yeah, and because
even when MVP was on commentary, it was awesome.
Yeah, and because of his connection to Brock, I've always been a Shelton Benjamin fan, and I love seeing him being relevant again because for the longest time they didn't even have him on TV. So I love, and you can tell he's having a blast with this. So I'm just happy. Same with Cedric Alexander. Good for him. Man.
To me, Shelton when he was the gold standard, like I loved him back then. I was like, yo, this dude's a future world champion. And then you're right, he came back, and I was excited. And then they put him with Gable, and I was like, this is dumb, you know, and like. And now it's like, okay, now let's like make Shelton Benjamin what he was. Let's make Bobby Lashley the ass kicker that he is. MVP is a great mouthpiece. And Cedric Alexander is one of the most talented guys on the roster who just literally got buried beneath everyone else, just like they're doing with Ali. And like you said, I would love them to add like an Ali. Like I would love them to add someone. Like the Nation had Owen Hart, and it was fucking hilarious.
It's just crazy. It's crazy because like, so the Hurt Business are technically heels, right? However, when they went against Retribution, I'm sure all of us definitely were like, no, I'm cheering for the Hurt Business. Like,
well, it's just like the NWO WCW thing. Like, I think they're trying to pull is like when NWO invaded WCW, all of WCW fought together. It didn't matter what feud you're in.
Yeah.
This is our territory. And I feel like that's what it is. But as a smart wrestling fan, right? As a wrestling fan who understands Hurt Business, their faces to I think everyone because it's literally the reason we're watching Raw. Like,
right, but you gotta remember we're in that era where it's cool to cheer for the bad guys.
Yeah.
So that's just what it is. And I wish Vince understood that because everybody's rooting for Roman Reigns right now. And he's your biggest heel. You know what I mean? I'm rooting for Randy Orton and he's the heel in his feud. Like it is cool to root for the bad guy now.
It's very rare that you catch the lightning in the bottle you did with Daniel Bryan the year of the Yes Movement. That is super rare to have a face, that underdog story. Just people just care about him. Like they just love him because usually you're right. It's like, damn, Roman swag. Like I fucking love that. Or, oh, the Fiend when he was a heel. He's a monster.
Yeah,
I love that.
It still happens. Think about it. The WrestleMania that we all got to go to, we were rooting for Seth to beat Brock. We were rooting for Kofi to win. We were rooting for
I would say Becky
to win. And those were all
Kofi,
like
yeah.
underdogs in their own storyline.
The Kofi thing happened real quick, and I love that. And I think that was the best part of it is they didn't spend tons of time with the Kofi thing because an injury happened, and they're like, okay, they listened about Kofi, and they had like 3 weeks, and it was like, cool, we didn't give you enough time to fuck this up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like that was like a rare occasion with like lightning in the bottle. But you know, you're right with the Becky thing. That was a long one, but they just don't do it enough. They don't build the faces up enough. Like, here's the thing with Roman Reigns, right? He doesn't even have to be a heel. He could have been a face with this attitude. Stone Cold Steve Austin was the biggest face of all time, and he was an anti-hero. He was a beer-drinking redneck who cursed at his boss. He was everything. Like, I always wanted to curse at my boss. He was everything that I wanted to be. I want to curse at my boss. I want to drink beer. I want to shoot people the finger. I want to cause chaos and leave. But he was a
Ethan
face.
does that normally.
But he was a
Friday
face.
night for Ethan.
But that's the thing. So you don't have to have the underdog story. You could have different types of faces. And I think WWE kind of lost sight of that. But it's about the hour mark. So that means that is the show for this week. If you want to hear more, go over to patreon.com/Rant Foundation. We are doing a Q&A tonight with a bunch of questions we will be answering for our patrons. Go to Instagram, follow us at the Rant Foundation on Twitter, Rant Foundation. Follow us, subscribe to our YouTube. We're like a couple away from 100, which is like a big deal for me. Not everyone has like 45,000, but right, Issa, but we'll have 100 here. But go subscribe, guys, and we really appreciate it. Phil, where can they follow you?
You can follow me on Twitter at FanboyPhillium. Also, big shout out and a thank you to everybody who donated to the GoFundMe for Cody. We reached our goal.
We're over the goal now.
We're over the goal, yes. I'm actually withdrawing the money so we can get the process started to send it to Cody. So thank you for everybody who shared or donated or whatever. That was really cool of everybody to kind of jump in
My
there.
Father wants to donate, but he'll probably just PayPal Cody.
Yeah, just PayPal at this point.
That's why I PayPal Cody before I even knew about the GoFundMe. But
yeah,
I'm so happy. Like, that's the best part of this community is like the brotherhood and the sisterhoods and the friendships that we make. And Cody is definitely one of, you know, the most important people in I know Phil and I's lives because he's one of our brothers. So it's like anytime we could help, and you know, he really appreciates it. He's not going to say that he needed the help. He won't admit to that, and he won't ask for the help, but he appreciates it. I can tell you that.
Most definitely.
Issa, where can they follow you?
At NYC Demon Diva.
At
Twitter.
NYC Demon Diva. Soon to be at AEW Demon Diva. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
I am Game of Ant on Twitter, but you can also follow me on Instagram if you want. It's private, so if I don't know who you are, I'll probably deny it anyway. But check out my little weight loss vlog journey that I'm doing, because if I'm not on camera, then I'm not accountable, because that's how I work. I have to be on camera so I can keep it going. I'm trying to lose weight. I'm trying to lose 40 pounds of gold. That's what the show is going to be called. So go check it out. It's called Wait and See. And if you want to get on the weight loss journey with me, hit me up on Twitter. Let's like bounce ideas off each other. I'm trying to not have a heart attack at the age of 33.
Please
and my eating habits would,
because this furthers the goal that I will be the fattest person at my wedding, because everybody else is losing weight around me. So keep Ann accountable. Let's go.
Yeah, let's skinny Ann coming back.
At my wedding, everybody else is gonna look like fucking Finn Balor, just shredded.
That's what I want to look like. I just want to wear the suit jacket and no undershirt at Phil's wedding. Yeah. Suit jacket, bow tie, abs. That's it. That's what I'm going for. You can follow me at onlyants.com once I get skinny. And thank you guys for listening, and thank you for keeping wrestling real.
Quiet, so quiet.
Adios.